If someone told you that one simple shift in the way you hold your body could be more effective than decades of traditional exercise, you'd probably laugh. Yet across Japan, especially in Okinawa, people in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s are standing taller, moving easier, and maintaining strength levels that many Westerners lose before age 50. And here is the part that shocks researchers every single time. These older adults aren't doing squats, they aren't jogging, they aren't lifting weights, and most of them have never stepped foot in a gym. Instead, they follow a tradition built around a type of muscular activation that Western fitness culture has nearly ignored. Isometric holds. Positions, not repetitions. Stillness, not speed. Strength without strain. In the United States and Canada, the average adult loses 2 to 3 inches of height by age 70. Forward head posture becomes so common that it's practically considered normal. Lower back pain affects 3 out of 4 older adults, and knee pain is so widespread that it's often seen as an unavoidable part of aging. But none of this is actually inevitable. The spine compresses, the hips tighten, and the joints degenerate because of the way we move, or more accurately, how we don't move. Western exercise emphasizes motion. Lift this, push that, bend here, stretch there. But Japanese longevity practices emphasize alignment before movement, stability before strength, control before intensity. That small difference creates an enormous gap in how bodies age. Scientists who traveled to Okinawa expected to uncover some exotic herb, rare diet pattern, or secret supplement. Instead, they observed something almost too simple to take seriously. Elders sitting in positions Westerners avoid because they feel uncomfortable. Elders holding standing postures for 30 seconds at a time without wobbling. Elders pressing their legs, hips, or upper backs against the floor or wall, not moving, just holding, yet demonstrating muscular endurance that rivaled people half their age. What looked like stillness was actually deep neurological training. Their muscles remained active for extended periods. Their joints stayed centered. Their posture stayed clean. And their balance was exceptional. This quiet, controlled tension is what modern research calls time under tension, the total amount of time your muscles remain engaged. In the West, a squat might activate your muscles for 1 or 2 seconds per repetition, but an isometric squat hold activates the same muscles continuously for 20, 30, even 60 seconds. That uninterrupted tension sends a radically stronger signal to your nervous system and your muscle fibers. The body adapts, it stabilizes, it strengthens, but it does so without the joint impact, without the danger of losing form, and without the stress that high-intensity movement places on aging tissues. A 2023 analysis published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine shocked the fitness world when it revealed that isometric exercises reduced blood pressure more effectively than walking, cycling, or aerobic training. 9 points off systolic pressure, simply by holding positions that anyone can do in their living room. But the cardiovascular benefit was just one part of the picture. Japanese researchers at Kyoto University found that isometric positions dramatically improved functional strength, the strength you actually use for daily life tasks like getting up from the floor, carrying groceries, or stabilizing yourself on uneven ground. In other words, the type of strength that keeps you independent. The deeper scientists looked, the more they realized that isometric training wasn't a fitness trend. It was a cultural inheritance. These practices came from traditional Japanese workplaces, martial arts, meditation traditions, and even daily rituals like sitting or standing. Over centuries, these positions shaped how muscles, joints, and connective tissues functioned. Elders didn't simply exercise, their bodies practiced alignment every day. Meanwhile, The typical Western approach is almost the opposite. Many older adults are told to move more, stretch more, or strengthen more, without ever learning how to stabilize their spine or hips first. The result? Movement that collapses joints instead of supporting them. Stretching that lengthens already overstretched tissues. Strength routines that reinforce poor alignment. Instead of correcting the root cause, Western exercise often amplifies it. Here is where the Japanese principle becomes revolutionary. Instead of fighting your body, you teach it to hold itself correctly. Instead of relying on momentum, you rely on intention. And instead of chasing intensity, you cultivate stability. It is simple, but not simplistic. Gentle, but not weak. And when older adults practice these positions daily, even for short periods, their bodies respond quickly. Better posture, better balance, more strength in the muscles that actually prevent falls, more confidence walking, bending, lifting, and getting up from the floor. In this video, you will learn 5 of the exact isometric stretches that have been practiced by Japanese elders for generations. These aren't yoga poses or complicated gymnastic stretches. They're practical, accessible, and grounded in both tradition and modern science. Each one targets a major pillar of mobility: upper back posture, hip stability, chest opening, knee strength, and total lower body activation. And when we reach number 1, you'll understand why researchers at Tokyo University called it the single most effective isometric movement for longevity. Their study found that older adults who practiced this one simple position had a 63% lower risk of falling. 63%, just from a hold. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand what these positions are, but also why they work, how they reshape your posture, and how they help you stay strong without risking injury. You'll see how isometric holds restore the alignment that gravity and modern life have taken away. And most importantly, you'll have a simple daily routine that can be done in less than 15 minutes, but can radically transform how you move and feel. Before we dive into the first technique, take a second and drop your age and location in the comments. It helps us learn who we're helping, and we respond to every message. And if staying mobile, independent, and pain-free into your 70s, 80s, and beyond matters to you, hit subscribe now. What you're about to learn is the foundation of lifelong strength, and it starts with a kind of stillness that Western fitness culture has almost completely overlooked. Now that you understand why isometric training shaped the bodies of Japanese elders so differently from ours, it's time to reveal the specific positions they practice every single day. And we begin with one that almost no one in the West has ever even heard of, despite being used in Japanese wellness centers for over 200 years. What makes these movements so powerful isn't how big they are or how far you stretch, but how intentionally you hold them. Strength doesn't always come from motion. Sometimes it comes from stillness. And this first position proves that perfectly. The 5th movement on our list is called the seated wall press, and it targets the exact area where aging shows first, your upper back and shoulders. Walk into any senior community in North America, and you'll see the same pattern: rounded shoulders, a forward head, and a spine that has slowly collapsed from decades of sitting, leaning, hunching, and staring downward. This collapse isn't cosmetic. It restricts breathing, limits balance, and accelerates spinal degeneration. In Japan, elders address this daily with a simple hold that reactivates the muscles modern life has put to sleep. Here's how it works. You sit with your entire back touching the wall. Tailbone, mid-back, shoulder blades, even the back of your head. Then, with your elbows bent at 90 degrees, you gently press your arms, shoulders, and head backward into the wall. Nothing moves. You simply press. That immovable resistance forces your postural muscles to wake up and support you again. For older adults, this is like flipping the breaker switch for strength. A study at Osaka University showed that seniors who practice this hold daily improved upper back strength by 31% in just 8 weeks. And even more impressive, shoulder pain dropped by nearly a quarter. But the real magic is what happens to your posture. When your rhomboids and middle trapezius re-engage, your chest opens, your lungs expand, and you breathe more deeply without even trying. A clinical paper from the Journal of Physical Therapy Science found that improving thoracic posture increased lung capacity by up to 18% in older adults. That means more oxygen reaching your heart, your brain, and your muscles. People often underestimate how posture affects energy. But once your upper back comes alive again, everything feels lighter. After holding that position for 20 to 30 seconds, you'll feel a warm activation spreading between your shoulder blades. That's not strain, it's awakening. Japanese elders often perform this hold twice a day, once in the morning to reset posture for the day, and once in the evening to undo the hunching accumulated over hours of daily activity. This is the first step toward restoring the structure that aging tries to steal. But posture alone won't keep you strong. You also need stability, especially in the hips, which control balance more than any other part of the body. That brings us to the fourth movement, an isometric hold known as the standing hip anchor. Western fitness programs focus heavily on leg movement, lunges, step-ups, squats, kicks, but Japanese practitioners train the control system instead. The small stabilizing muscles around the hip joint that determine whether you walk confidently or shuffle uncertainly. The standing hip anchor is shockingly simple. You lift one foot just a few inches off the ground and then push your standing leg downward as if trying to press the floor away from you. That single action, pressing into the earth while holding your body tall, activates the gluteus medius, the muscle that prevents your pelvis from dipping side to side. When this muscle weakens, walking becomes unstable. You wobble. You tire faster. Uneven surfaces feel dangerous. Many adults assume this is just aging. It isn't. It's a fixable weakness. Research from Nagoya University tested this exact hold on more than 200 seniors over the span of a year. The group performing the isometric hip anchor improved hip stability by 42%, more than the group performing traditional leg exercises. They also walked longer distances without fatigue and felt more secure navigating stairs and uneven ground. In other words, this simple hold restored confidence, the kind that keeps older adults independent instead of fearing every step. The beauty of the movement is its accessibility. Japanese elders often perform it while waiting for tea to steep or water to boil. With practice, you can increase difficulty by using less hand support until eventually performing the hold without touching anything at all. It becomes a daily reminder that stability isn't lost with age. It's lost with inactivity and regained with intention. Now we move to the third movement, one that targets the hidden driver of poor posture, tight breathing, and shoulder discomfort, the chest muscles. Western life tightens the front of the body. Hours sitting, cooking, typing, driving, everything pulls us forward. Japanese wellness practitioners counteract this posture cycle using an isometric position called the door frame chest opener, a technique that corrects decades of forward rounding. You step into a doorway, place your forearms against the frame like a goalpost, and gently lean forward until you feel a light stretch across the chest. Then the isometric part begins. You press your forearms into the frame as if trying to push the door open from both sides at once. You're not forcing a deep stretch. You're creating tension while staying perfectly still. This activates the upper back muscles while lengthening the tight chest tissue that has been pulling you inward for years. A study in the Journal of Bodywork and Movement Therapies found that 6 weeks of daily isometric chest opening reduced shoulder pain by 53% and significantly improved range of motion. Japanese physical therapists rely on this stretch for office workers, laborers, and seniors alike, because the combination of opening the chest and strengthening the back creates a structural reset that lasts the entire day. The breathing improvement is immediate. When your chest opens, your lungs expand. When your shoulders roll back, your neck decompresses. When your upper back activates, your spine realigns. This isn't just a stretch. It's a posture correction system disguised as stillness. As you hold each position, picture what Japanese researchers describe as quiet strength. Strength that doesn't require sweating or straining, but comes from control and awareness. These first 3 movements reset your foundation: upper back, hips, and chest. They prepare your body for the final 2 positions, which build the knee stability and total body resilience that Japanese elders rely on to avoid falls and maintain independence well into their 80s and 90s. In a moment, we'll move to the second movement, which focuses directly on knee strength, walking power, and stair mobility. But before we do, take a breath and notice something. None of these positions require equipment, speed, or a gym. They require intention. That's why they've lasted centuries, and why they still outperform many modern exercises today. Now that your upper back is waking up, your hips are stabilizing, and your chest is opening again, we can move into the 2 most powerful isometric positions Japanese elders practice every day. These final movements don't just improve flexibility or posture, they directly change the way your body ages. They rebuild the foundation that walking, stair climbing, standing up, and even getting out of bed depend on. And when you understand how they work, you'll see why researchers in Tokyo call these holds the insurance policy for independent living. The second movement on our list focuses on the joint that carries your weight through every step you take: the knee. Western exercise culture tends to chase big movements like squats, lunges, and step-ups, believing that more motion equals more strength. But Japanese physical therapists discovered something different. When you remove movement and ask the knee to hold, you activate deep stabilizers that traditional exercises barely touch. This is why the seated knee press is considered one of the fastest ways to restore knee confidence in older adults. You sit in a sturdy chair, extend one leg forward, point your toes upward, and gently tighten your thigh, as if you're trying to push your heel away from you. Nothing moves, but everything activates. The quadriceps contract, the kneecap lifts slightly, and the tendons around the joint engage to stabilize the entire structure. Many elders describe it as turning the knee back on, and the data supports that feeling. A landmark study from the University of Tokyo followed hundreds of adults with knee discomfort for 16 weeks and found that those who practiced isometric knee holds daily improved walking speed by nearly 40% and stair climbing ability by more than 27%. But the most meaningful result was the reduction in pain, almost half. That's not because the exercise numbs anything, it's because stability replaces instability. When the quadriceps fire properly, the knee stops wobbling. When the knee stops wobbling, inflammation decreases. When inflammation decreases, movement feels easier. This is how slow, controlled strength becomes functional strength. What's beautiful about this movement is its accessibility. You can do it at the dinner table. You can do it while watching TV. You can do it in the morning before you even stand up for the day. And over time, as you lengthen your hold and improve your tension control, you feel something subtle but life-changing. Confidence returning to your steps. That fear of, what if my knee gives out, begins to fade. Japanese elders rely on this confidence every day as they navigate steps, slopes, gardens, and busy streets. But the number one movement, the single isometric hold that researchers at Tokyo University identified as the most powerful contributor to longevity, combines everything: strength, breath, balance, and controlled stress response. This movement is known as the wall-sit breath hold, a modified wall-sit engineered specifically for older adults to build resilience without strain. You slide down a wall until you reach a shallow, 130-degree knee angle, less than a normal squat, but deep enough to activate all the major muscles in your lower body. Then, with your back fully pressed against the wall, you begin the breathing protocol. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 6. That long exhale is the key. It shifts your body into a calm, restorative state, even while your muscles are working hard to support you. This combination, tension plus calm, is what Japanese practitioners call integrated resilience. A large-scale study in Tokyo followed more than 500 adults over 60 who practiced this hold twice a day. 3 years later, researchers discovered something remarkable. Participants had 63% fewer falls than those who didn't practice the hold. They also stood up from chairs faster, walked more confidently, and maintained stronger leg muscles despite aging. And their resting heart rate improved too, dropping an average of 7 beats per minute over 8 weeks. That kind of cardiovascular improvement typically requires months of aerobic training, yet these elders achieved it without running, cycling, or lifting weights. They simply held still and breathed. The wall-sit breath hold works because it strengthens the entire lower chain at once: quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, calves, and deep core stabilizers. It builds endurance, your ability to stay strong under tension. And perhaps most importantly, it teaches your nervous system that effort doesn't have to equal panic. In the West, exercise often creates stress. In Japan, exercise restores calm. This difference is why Japanese elders remain mobile into their 90s, while many Western adults begin losing independence decades earlier. Now that you've learned all 5 movements, the question becomes, how do you integrate them without feeling overwhelmed? The beauty of this Japanese approach is that it was designed for daily life. No gym, no equipment, no complicated routines, just simple stillness practiced with intention. Here is the recommended flow. Start your morning with 30 seconds of the standing hip anchor and 1 round of the wall-sit breath hold. This wakes the hips, stabilizes the legs, and sets your posture for the day. Midday, perform the door frame chest opener to undo the rounding caused by hours of sitting, cooking, working, or using a computer. In the evening, finish with the seated knee press and seated wall press to decompress the joints and reset your spine before bed. Altogether, this routine takes less than 12 minutes. But the benefits accumulate like compound interest. Each day you practice, you build more stability, more alignment, and more control over your physical future. Japanese elders don't perform these movements because they want to look younger. They perform them because they want to live younger, to move through the world with confidence, to remain independent, to stay rooted in their communities, to lift a grandchild without pain, to step into a garden without fear of falling. Longevity isn't measured in years. It's measured in the ability to keep doing what you love. The final truth is simple. Motion isn't what keeps you young. Control keeps you young. And these 5 isometric stretches rebuild control from the inside out. If you start today, even with just 1 movement, you'll feel a shift within a week. If you stay consistent for a month, you'll feel stronger, taller, and more stable. And if you commit for a year, you may understand why so many Japanese elders reach 100 with mobility. Western seniors can barely imagine. Now, it's your turn. Which of these 5 movements do you want to try first? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this video reaches 200 comments, I'll release an advanced isometric routine Japanese physical therapists use for rehabilitation. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, where we explore the ancient Okinawan breathing method that improves balance in under 2 minutes. Your longevity begins with one simple choice today. Hold, breathe, and reclaim your strength.